Hey friends, and welcome to the last episode of We Read It One Night's 2023 year. To no one's surprise, this week we're talking about Bangin' Santa Claus with two Christmas novellas, Her Night with Santa by Adriana Herrera and Santa Claus is Going to Town on Me by M.L. Eliza. I'm joined by Amanda from the 90s Babies Nostalgia podcast, and we talk about candy cane Dixon holiday sex toys, along with a surprise return to the podcast Bear Survival Tip roots. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review as a present this holiday season. Enjoy this time with the people you love, and enjoy the show. I made some scallion pancakes for dinner just now. They were, and by made, I mean I heated up frozen ones from Trader Joe's. And Addie, like, she has never been this obsessed with getting my food. Like, she did. I've never had her do like the classic cat paw thing where like they reach their little paw like onto your plate and like try to like take it. And she just did it right in front of me like multiple times. I was like, I even let her sniff it. And she was like not interested in eating it, but she just like wanted to take one.
That's so funny. I wonder what it is because they don't have seafood. I know exactly which ones you're talking about. I have them in my freezer.
Yeah. They're just dough and scallions.
Yeah. I saw a Tumblr post yesterday because I'm still on Tumblr, whatever. And it was like about how someone was like, you know, if your cat wants to sniff your food, just let them sniff your food. They don't really want to eat it. And then the reply of this was written by a cat. I let my cat sniff my food and they took a bite out of something that was not meat. But Marnie's the sniffing cat. I just give her, anytime she looks at me with curiosity, I just put it in front of her face and she gives a little sniff and then she's good. The only thing she's stolen was a shrimp chip out of the bag.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
Smells like shrimp. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, listener.
Hello.
Welcome to our Christmas episode, our holiday episode, but it's a Christmas episode because we're talking about Santa books today. And I am joined by my good friend Amanda, who happens to also have her own podcast. Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amanda. I have a podcast called 90s Babies Nostalgia, where my friend Jess and I just watch media that's usually from the early 2000s. Sometimes it's from now, geared towards teens, things that make us happy and give us nostalgic feels. Also, I'm incredibly jealous of you right now because the setup for a podcast that has no visual features is just so much nicer. Like, I didn't have to put on a full face of makeup. I didn't have to set up my tripod and my ring light. Like, this is a dream.
Oh my God. No. Rachel, at one point, she was like, we should like put it on YouTube and like, you know, just have like our faces. I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to shut that shit down right now. Absolutely not.
I'm happy you don't have a visual component because I'm cozy.
I'm happy for you. Listen, you look very nice regardless. I would be
Thank
proud
you.
to put your current face on our YouTube channel.
I thought you went on your face. Like, I would be proud to wear your face.
I would be proud to wear your face. Amanda, our friendship has actually been a long-standing con for me to like steal your face like that spirit from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I think it's funny that so we're friends and we both have podcasts, but we're not podcast friends. I mean, we follow each other and we support each other and stuff. But like, I don't know where you're at, but I feel like such a cliche of a millennial in that I now have like my podcast friends that are other podcasts I follow that follow me, and like we only know each other through podcasting. But I also have at least two other friends that I met in real life first who happen to have podcasts. So when I'm talking to friends who on the off chance don't have a podcast, I'm like, yeah, so my friend Allison who has her romance book podcast and my friend Sarah who has her horror podcast, and I just sound like such a tool. Anyway,
welcome Amanda. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
It's very nice. This is our last episode of the year, listener.
Yay! Hope it's been a good year for everyone.
Yeah, I hope it's been a good year.
And let me just tell you, listener, podcasting secret, it is not Santa season yet.
No, it's spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Nightmare Before Christmas. That's what this episode is giving because it's Santa in spooky season.
And what a nightmare you took me on, Allison.
I am so delighted. Okay, so listener, today we are doing something a little bit different. We're talking about two books because they are novellas and they equal one book. And one of them is like 40 pages and super gay. And the other one is like 140 pages. And it's ostensibly not gay at all, unless you're talking about like the original meaning of the word gay, in which case I would say, sure, it's jolly because it's Santa. We are talking about Her Night with Santa by Adriana Herrera, which is our Sapphic Santa book. And then we are talking Santa Claus is Going to Town on Me.
You can't even say it.
It's such a good title.
It's
By by M.L. Eliza, but Marie Liscombe writing as M.L. Eliza.
And these are both self-published, right?
Yes. I think that they're both by hybrid authors, though. Adriana Herrera definitely has had several traditionally published. Like she does both. And I have heard of Marie Liscombe, and I feel like she, at the very least, like writes maybe like Harlequin, like mass mark, like those kinds of category romance. Possibly. I don't know where I've heard her name before, but I feel like she also may be hybrid. But Adriana Herrera definitely is.
This was an absolute treat for me. I listened to an episode of yours before this because I've been meaning to listen to your stuff anyway. And we have a very similar podcast in that we both like recap a lot and add our comments throughout. However, I am not a romance girly. I've read one traditional romance book ever. And
which one?
It was a forever one. Accidentally Engaged.
Oh, we did an episode on that.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook and I got pissed off the whole time because they pronounced Toronto with the last T, Toronto. Canadians don't say it that way. And I felt like the voice actors didn't do their research. Pulled me out. Yeah, that's my take. That was my whole take. It's a very
the author's
book.
Canadian, if that helps. Like she does live in Toronto.
No.
The author is
sure, but the voice actors were my issue.
Fine.
But anyway, it's a very tame book. And I realized reading these, the only sex scenes I'd ever read before were from Cassandra Clare and Sally Rooney.
Oh no.
I know.
So one written for children and the other one, nobody gets to orgasm. Is what I'm getting from that.
Pretty much. And we got a lot of orgasms in these books.
Welcome to the world. Well, that's also the thing about novellas. So like these are definitely a little bit different than more traditional romance. Like I would say Her Night with Santa, I feel like verges on erotica because they're fucking almost the entire time.
They don't both verge on erotica? Like
no, because Santa Claus is Going to Town on Me has the romance element. Like there's a different, like erotica is not just like what percentage is sex. Like erotica is like romance is like the story is told through the romance and sex is in addition to that if it's like an open door. And then erotica is like the story is told through their sexual relationship.
Okay.
And it has more sex generally, but like they are distinct things. Like it's not just like how many sex scenes.
I just want to point out both of these stories start with the two main characters meeting each other and going, we're going straight to Bone Town. And I love it. Everything else unfolds after.
Listen, if they're novellas, they don't have a lot of time. We don't have time for a meet cute. It's immediately down to fucking.
Yeah, so Her Night with Santa.
Yeah, let's talk about that one first. Or we can talk about both, but like we'll focus on Santa.
We have Kris, right? Kris.
Yes, with a K. Kris with a K. Christina Kringle.
Our lesbian Santa who has inherited the throne. And then how would you pronounce the other name? Farnaz or
Farnaz? That's how I was saying it in my head. I should have looked it up.
niece of a different type of brown Christmas god that I've not
The
heard of
Magi.
before.
You know the three kings that followed the star? Like the three kings, those are the
Oh,
Magi. Yeah.
oh, you would know that.
I would.
And Farnaz has decided to um go into the sex toy business and is actively using these toys butt ass naked. Sorry, I
Yeah,
never asked if I
excellent.
could swear,
Oh
but
no, absolutely. We're
literally
talking
butt ass
about
naked with
people, sex toys, and fucking. Like, of course.
yeah. And Kris walks in on her, and that's when they first meet, is when one of them is like strapped into three sex toys at once, mid
Absolutely.
orgasm.
Yes. And I would like to point out that her sex toys specifically are ergonomic.
Are they?
Yes, they're ergonomic sex toys. And I was like, my carpal tunnel is like joyous. This is amazing.
She's got like nipple clamps, a butt
Yeah.
plug, and then something else going on down in her lady regions.
There's a vibrator. There's also a giant blue strap on.
Well, that comes in later.
That comes in later.
That's
But
like
I'm just
sex
saying
scene
that's
number
also part of the
3.
pack. That's also
Yeah.
part of the pack.
Oh, there's a whole bag full of prototypes.
Yes. Which she's not just carrying around, listeners. She is in, so they're in where? The Dominican Republic?
I'm not sure if they specify. I know they're in the Caribbean.
They do specify, but I could be wrong. Anyway, she's there to like present to investors. So she's not just carrying around the bag of sex toys for shits and giggles. Although, frankly, if she was, I wouldn't blame her.
No.
Because they sound great.
Yeah, so she's there to meet with investors and her family doesn't support her. And so she has like the tiniest bit of backstory. And we get to switch between the two of them,
Yeah.
which is kind of, I don't know how I felt about that, but it was like.
That's very common. That's like the norm in romance. I mean, in contemporaries, there's currently a trend where it's like usually just where it's sometimes one, but I think that people are going back. It's very normal to have both perspectives.
Okay.
Yes, I did have a bone to pick that she's described as butch because I was like, she's wearing bright red lipstick and winged eyeliner, and like if you look at the cover, like that woman, like having short hair is not the only requirement to being butch. And I really need modern sapphic authors to realize this because like I've heard there have been other authors who like describe their characters as butch, and I'm like that she's not butch. She's just normal. She just has short hair.
So much. I didn't want to be the asshole bringing it up, but it bothered me because her red lipstick and winged eyeliner are her signature.
Yes.
And there's something else in there I forgot that's like
she's wearing like a black lacy bra underneath her Santa suit. Or something.
She's giving top femme or femme top. She's not like calling her butch is it. I don't know the author's preferences and I don't claim to, but it sounds like how a straight person would describe a lesbian with just like a slight bit of masculine energy.
Yeah.
I also just want to point out.
Oh, she's pulled out the Kindle. Listener, she has pulled out her notes.
I have not used my Kindle in 5+ years. I had to charge it, make sure it still works to download these ebooks. And I'm so glad that I did because then I got to take my little highlights because I don't mark physical books and I almost only read physical books.
Love it.
Unlike
these are both on Kindle Unlimited, listener. So if you have that.
There's the other line. This Santa rolls in custom Louboutins. Tell me what butch is wearing custom Louboutins.
No. The red soles? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I just would like to quote what Farnaz says, like as soon as she sees Kris. So Kris is there recovering after Christmas. She's like having her like week of solitude, but now she's like week of sex. And Farnaz like doesn't like her family, so she's taking a break. So Farnaz sees Kris. She's on Kris's bed. Kris waltzes in and she's like, "Goddamn, dinner and a show." And Farnaz is like, if you're part of the amenities, my answer is yes. Yes, please, festive butch fantasy. I would very much like to have whatever you're offering. And I was like, we're off to the races.
And Kris is from the very beginning, like 100% my dad set this up because Farnaz's uncle got permission from the former Santa.
Daddy Santa.
Yes.
Santa
well,
Senior.
that's our next one.
No,
but
not Daddy Santa yet.
To let her spend the night in this luxury villa, which, by the way, my first highlight starts with how she's going to think about the fucking baller afternoon ahead of her. I really loved some of the prose in this. It felt very natural. And yeah, so I don't even know. I've lost my train of thought. Oh no. So immediately she's like, my dad set this up. Like, there is a naked masturbating woman on my bed, curvy and delicious, and my dad sent her here for me, and I'm gonna fuck her brains out. And this happens throughout the novella where she's like, I don't really care that my dad set this up. Where she's like thinking about her dad about to go to town on this woman. Do you know what
There's something going on in the Santa family. That's all. In the CLAUS family, something is going on there. Maybe we should talk about it.
Hey, at least her dad is sex positive and an ally.
Are these actually part of the same universe? And Daddy Santa, like, this is his and Holly's child.
Well, Daddy Santa couldn't tell you because Daddy Santa doesn't know a damn thing about who he is.
Daddy Santa is an alien. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So,
oh wait, I want to say that. So they say that all the reindeer are female, right? Which is biologically accurate because female reindeer are the only ones that have antlers in the winter. And that was a viral tweet that I would like to claim was made by my friend back before Twitter imploded. But every year she gets like death threats from people who are so butthurt that she's saying that fictional reindeer are all girls.
And apparently in this novella, the reindeer, referred to as these bitches, roll with anything as long as they get pampered.
And honestly, I've never related to reindeer more.
True. They're not the ones you knew, but they're new. And yeah, listener, we're getting all over the place. That's because this novella is all over the place. But Kris is the first female Santa ever. That's her whole personality.
I've gotten reviews of people being like 14 minutes in and they just started talking about the book. Like, okay, and
you're like, if it wasn't good content, I would have edited it out.
Why do you think it's a 2-part episode? Listeners, you should thank me. I just want to say the episode that comes out before this, Amanda, it's Molly's episode.
Oh my God.
And listener, I just want to say that you should thank me because that recording was over 3 hours long. I'm not done editing it because it's over 3 hours long, but I've currently cut out like an hour and I'm only like 30 minutes in. So like, you're welcome.
I love being on a podcast that has episodes as long as mine. Anyway, lesbian porn, back at it. I don't remember. They meet on the bed and then what?
Somebody says, holy snowballs.
That is in there.
That's
yes,
said.
That
my note, the bullet point is just quote, holy snowballs.
Yeah. That's on page 14.
Needed to convey that. I needed to convey that.
Holy snowballs is the last thing that I highlighted. I think I just gave up after that. And that's only page 14.
Oh my God.
So they decide that this would be fun. Basically, they just both think they're hot. And one of them's already naked and masturbating. So yeah, why not?
And instead of being like, oh my God, I've been caught masturbating naked by this woman on the bed. She's like, yeah, let me just do a little, like, it's not a striptease because she's already naked, but like whatever the naked version of a striptease is, a little seduction.
Gotta applaud the gumption there and the confidence there to really go for it. And I think they do almost immediately start fucking.
Yes. No, my note is I haven't read a more immediate eating out scene since Ice Planet Barbarians.
Great title.
And yes, it's about, as you might guess, Ice Planet Barbarians. And the first book, this girl and her friends crash land on a planet, and she's like goes out for help, and she's like sleeping in a cave, and she wakes up, and this alien is eating her out, and she's like, I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna let this finish though, and then we're gonna.
Couldn't be me. Allison, I just want you to know that intermarital rape is still rape.
I understand.
Okay.
But like, she's cool with it. Like, she wakes, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're cool with it, as long as like,
yeah, man,
I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm glad there's no sexual assault in these ones, unless you count the assault of walking in on someone naked in mid-sexual act without consent.
You're in someone's home, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kris was in her own home.
Well, no, I'm saying Farah is in someone's home. So
yeah.
like,
could you go into someone's home and just start?
No. I have trouble sleeping without pants on in other people's homes.
Same.
Like,
I also, if I'm in like an Airbnb or something, I'm immediately like, where's the camera?
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? It could not be me. Okay,
couldn't.
There's lots of eating out and playing with the nipple clamps.
Yes.
And then
Farah asked if they can do it on the beach, and I'm like, that's how you get a UTI. Listener,
that's how you get a staph infection.
Don't do it on the beach. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. The sand gets, to quote Anakin Skywalker, the sand gets in everything. I also love that Kris has tattoos, a la the Guardians movie Santa Daddy, which I sent you a picture of because you didn't know. And listener, if you don't know Santa Daddy, I will link him in the description, because DreamWorks knew what they were doing when they created this Santa, Rise of the Guardians.
He's kind of hot, not gonna lie. He's the hottest Santa of them all. And
this is what I was picturing for Daddy Santa in the next book. There's just something about Santa having tattoos. So all I have to say. Now, Kris's are like lame and sentimental because they're just like the names of all the Santas before her. But Rise of the Guardian Santa is like, has a naughty and nice on his forehead.
I was thinking, how many names does she have? This has to have been hundreds of Santas at this point.
Well, how long has the Santa myth been around?
Centuries.
Okay.
I mean, our other Santa's over 1,000 years old.
4th century AD. But if you think about it, so it goes like all the way up her arm and then like down her back. They all have the same last name, right? It's the same family, ostensibly. So she only has to do the first names. And they're all probably some version of Kris. It's just Kris.
That's true. What if they just start adding tally marks?
She's Kris. Actually, she gets to be Kris the first because she's girl Kris. She's Kris number 1. But all the other Krises, like her dad was like Kris the 111th or something.
So to my point about her dad, right after fucking, and they're formally introducing themselves with, by the way, they go along with this because the whole thing is Farnaz's flight was delayed for a day, so she's only there for a night.
It was snow, yeah.
Yeah, and so Kris is not in the Caribbean, but in the Alps, and Kris is like, well, why not?
Oh, really? Wait, I was imagining, I don't know why, but I was like fully on board with it snowing.
Allison.
I was like, that's weird. I guess it's a Christmas miracle.
No, she's supposed to be skiing with her family in
I know,
Alps.
but I assumed that it had been snowing, like she was grounded because of a storm in the Caribbean, not in the Alps.
Oh. How are they Okay, moving
on. The Santa
on.
magic. Kris has a self-heating pussy, okay? Santa magic can do anything.
Yeah, we've learned that. But she says, maybe my father knows what he's doing because the exhaustion from just minutes ago is a distant memory now. Like, she literally just got finished fucking this woman and says, maybe my father knows what he's doing. and says raw need flares inside me shortly thereafter.
I think it's just shorthand for showing her being like, I'm a lone wolf, Santa workaholic, to like, I found love, of her bringing up her dad. It could also just be a daddy kink.
Felt more like that one. And they do decide, because she only has about 16 hours there, to just fuck the whole time.
Yes.
And so there's lots of, and I will say I read this in the bath. I had a very nice, long, hot bath. And I was really hoping this would add to something. And it was just it was so outlandish. There were so many toys.
There's a part where they're out on the, like, by the pool, and they're, quote, pressed together from toes to boobs. So I just would like to emphasize that is a description that we get. And then Farnaz like pulls out like a clit vibrator, a clit stimulator. And like, I missed the part where it said that she had brought down a pouch full of toys. And I thought she had just like they're butt naked. So I was like, where did she pull that out from?
That's right. So they go from the initial sex in the bed to then food, which we don't get to see, to then the pool where they have more sex. And I was also curious about where she was hiding that. And also, don't people work in this house? They like set up the house for Kris to return?
No, I think it's magic.
But she said something like
I think the house is stocked and then she's alone for a week.
But that's remember when she comes in, she's like, my door is closed. That's weird. The person normally leaves it open so a breeze goes through the house.
Yeah, I think that's the person that prepares it for like before she comes.
So
I don't think they're like a daily staff. No, I think the staff like preps it and then she's alone normally. I am very sensitive. Longtime listeners will know that I'm very much, anytime there's like a scene in which service workers are in the vicinity of like sexy times going on, I'm like, these people do not get paid enough for this. They absolutely do not get paid enough for this.
I would hope Santa's workers get paid decently.
Yeah, but no, because there's no amount that you would be able to pay me to get me to willingly walk in on my, like, witness my boss boning someone.
Oh no, there's no amount. I'm just saying I hope that they get paid decently. But there is no amount for sure.
Yeah. At one point during the sex marathon, I don't know who says this, but one of them says, I'm planning to squeeze every drop of fluid from your body. And I threw up in my mouth a little bit when I read that.
That sounds like Kris, because I remember her saying she's going to get water because of that.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But I did like a line that came shortly after that, where I think Farnaz says, it feels so incredibly naughty to have my bottom in the air for Santa's pleasure.
Oh, 100% Farnaz.
I was like, fuck yeah. I love that. One thing I loved about both of these Santa's books is the number of times where Santa was used as an adjective.
Or Santa adjacent words. I'm trying to find the plot, and
there's not a plot. It's a novella.
Yeah.
It's an erotic Christmas novella. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, the subtitle.
What I will say is they have sex at least 3 or 4 times, right? Because we've got the bed, we've got the pool, we've got the balcony, we've got the bed again. And in that, we get little glimpses of them sharing their life story and supposedly falling in love, to where by the end of it, they're like, Kris is gonna go to the Alps and meet Farnaz's family, and they might have a go of this. And I just gotta say, as someone whose heart lives in her vagina, still not how it works.
I don't know. My note is, these are the most lesbians to ever lesbian because of how fast they U-Haul it. They Santa slay it.
They Santa slay.
Like, they're ready within 48 hours. They're gone. They're done.
Yeah.
They're moving in together.
Farnaz does have an entire paragraph about how much she loves pussy.
Yes, she does have I highlighted that too. She has like an ode to pussy, just smack dab in the middle.
And they just kind of bond over being women doing things that their family haven't done.
Yeah. And being like, women leaders and sex. There's the dildos. Yeah, I mentioned the blue dildo. And I would just like to say that I would like there to be more dildos in sapphic romance. I feel like we don't get nearly enough. The only other time that I can remember, like a strap on, like dildo, like that kind of, like not just like with your hand, like a strap on dildo. The only other time I can remember that being used was actually in historical romance. And that's the only time. And I would like more of it. And the well, because the historical, you know what dildos are named after?
What?
You know where that name comes from?
No.
Dildo, Newfoundland. Yeah. Like it's the town because it's a fishing town.
It's incredible.
And the fishing wives used dildos. They were called He's at Homes. Like that popularized. Like that's not, obviously dildos have existed for far longer than that, but like that's where that word comes from.
Incredible.
And I learned that from that sapphic historical romance. And I was like, this is excellent. I would like more.
I've only known one person from Newfoundland, but they sucked. And I bet they would hate that story. And that brings me joy. I also agree. I like the dildo. As a sapphic person myself, I like to think about things like that, but I know some women struggle with that because they don't like feeling too compared to a man, or like they need to have quote unquote male parts to satisfy a woman. Especially cis women will feel sort of, I don't know, almost like threatened by a dildo in the presence of like stereotypical male genitalia. You know, some people feel.
Yeah. No, I got that.
But as a sapphic person myself, as a bisexual person myself,
yeah,
I appreciate the usage of it.
It's like fingers, but bigger.
Yeah.
It's just an extra big finger.
Anatomically, things serve a purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
I did also like the nod that all of the toys she has are her prototypes, except for the vintage Hitachi that still works like a charm. The word vintage was really great.
Where did she get it? Like, whose mom owned it first? It's what I want to know.
I imagine her spending twice the retail price to get it at like a novelty thrift store in Japan.
Yep.
Japan would have like thrift sex toy shops.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As they should.
Said as someone who's been in a Japanese sex shop.
You're like, I've been to one, actually.
But it wasn't a thrift store, but like maybe I wasn't looking hard enough.
Listen, you're telling me you don't have a vintage Hitachi that still works like a charm?
No, I actually don't own any sex toys, which is part of why I couldn't connect to the story. It wasn't as hot to me. Also, the like throwing the romance in later. I'm a demisexual person, and I need people to at least have a conversation before they have sex.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, and yeah, and these are novellas like that. They only have so much room. Maybe I'll have you on again, and I'll have you read a full one.
I mean, I've read sex scenes I liked before. And I didn't not like some of these.
I think this one, I just struggle with dirty talk in general. Like even authors who write dirty talk ostensibly really well, like who are like known for writing dirty talk. I'm just like, it's just something I'm like, I don't want you to say those words.
Yeah.
The only sex word I find hot is cunt. And I was very happy that this book used cunt.
I think it only used it once though.
Yes, but it used it. And that's like the one word that is still taboo for a lot of people in romance. Like there are people who will still get really offended if like the word cunt is used. Whereas like basically every other word is like on the table in some respect.
And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the word pussy, but I don't need to read it 5 times a page.
Yeah,
let's
there's something
diversify.
About pussy. There's just something about pussy that's not. But then you don't want the old standby euphemisms of like her petals or like her nub or like her flower. Like there's so many.
Sometimes some of the sex scenes I've read that I've enjoyed have been less graphic and more romantic or flowery. not like describing the genitalia in any which way, just describing like the feelings that they're going through. But also, I understand that is very much like a romance plot line within a larger novel, not whereas this is a
Yeah.
graphic
This is for the
erotica.
sex. No, I
Yeah.
agree. I think the sex scenes that I really enjoy are the ones that are more about like the connection as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like ones that describe the more physical stuff. Like I think these sex scenes were good, like especially if you're someone that likes the physical stuff, like
Yeah.
bang this out, baby. 40 pages, you hop in a bath, hopefully it'll go better for you than it did for Amanda.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think that's not usually, because I think I just get bogged down because like when I read, like I just kind of want to like float over the words. I don't want individual words to like stand out to me, if that makes
Mm.
sense. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
think the more technical you get, the more they stand out to me. And then it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah. I think it'd be good for people who need those descriptions, who like
Yes.
really want to visualize it. But in my
Mm-hmm.
brain, that just takes so much effort to
Mm-hmm.
then imagine everything they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm not a visual.
No. And honestly, thank you for the cover because that bitch is hot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a Santa I would fuck. And I
Absolutely. If
appreciated the
that Santa
cover.
walked in, I'd be like, I'm feeling my inner Fernaz.
Yeah.
I'm being possessed with the confidence of this lady.
I might fuck around with some snowflake nipple clamps.
Yes.
The Santa that's not hot is the Santa on the cover of Santa's Going
Oh
to
no, because
Town on
that's
Me.
just a regular Santa.
That is a regular ass Santa, and that is not how I imagined Santa while reading that one
No.
because I couldn't, because that would be disturbing.
I imagined the Santa from Rise of the Guardians. That's who I imagined.
I was similar. I was similar.
Yeah, because that's a daddy I can get behind. The last thing for
Mm-hmm.
for her night with Santa,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to take Santa's sleigh to the Alps. Like they're not going to
Yes.
fly. And Fernandez is like, how can I say no to a ride in Santa's sleigh?
That is the actual last line
Is
of the
it?
novella. Yes.
Iconic. I was like, this is a great last line. Excellent. No notes. Wonderful job. Yeah.
I will say, as far as Santa porn goes, the Santa isms in this one were way more tolerable.
Oh, okay. Well, see, here's the thing. I love the Santaism. So let's move on to Santa Claus is going to town on me. I,
Santa Claus.
oh, I'm sorry, CLAUS. CLAUS, like from the Vampire Diaries. I adored the number of Santa puns
Yeah.
and the number of like the fact that his cum tastes like peppermint
Oh my God.
is iconic to me.
His fucking cum.
Number of times when I just like was reading and then I would have to like pause, like put my phone down and just like take a deep breath and like cover my mouth and just like
Yes.
was like I need to take a moment and sit with what I've just read because I enjoyed every minute.
I will say it was deeply enjoyable for all the wrong reasons for
Oh
me.
yeah.
Like, I started reading it last night and I was gonna read some in bed before going to sleep because I needed to finish it. And I was just like, you know what, this is hilarious and I actually need to go to sleep, so I'm gonna stop now. And then today I read the vast majority in one sitting, and I'm not a quick reader, but you don't need to be to read this quickly.
I read this in the doctor's office. I texted you, but I need to tell the listener. Like I'm literally in the doctor's office, like waiting to get blood drawn, just reading, saying, being like, thank God it would be a HIPAA violation for them to have security cameras in this room because no, this needs to not be caught in any way.
And I went to physical therapy and I was gonna finish this there. And then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna finish this in the comfort of my home. Because if someone dare ask me what I'm reading,
No,
I
I
am not a
can't.
liar. And I will have to tell them that I'm reading Santa porn for my friend's podcast. So Santa Claus
Yes.
is going to town on me. Do you want to go through the plot? This one does have a bit of a plot.
This one does have this was not just a sex marathon. Yeah.
Well, there is that.
They have like a heart to heart about their tragic backstories, which are very funny to me. Well, hers is not his is just sad. But the epigraph is I've always hated Christmas, but this year will be different because this year I'm gonna fuck Santa Claus.
And we open up to Holly, named for the holiday by her late father who loved it, whose name was Douglas.
Yes,
like Douglas
the
fir trees. Yeah.
I like the commitment. This is Hallmark. This is a Hallmark movie, but with fucking. That's what I'm saying.
Literally.
Like commitment to
this
the aesthetic.
Is Hallmark after hours.
Yeah.
Hallmark at night. NC-17.
You wake up, the George Lopez theme is playing, and then this movie starts.
And to get to the daddy issues of it all, which is really what this novella is about. And we had some daddy issues in the last one. But so we from the very beginning, we know she's named after her father. We know something happened to him that made her hate the holidays. She hears someone break into her house. Sorry, this bitch owns a house. And she's a
receptionist and she owns a house. I would like to say this. Like, how? Where do you live?
Would love to know. Goes downstairs and finds actual Santa and just immediately dripping wet. Just, she's like this 7-foot giant. Just, eat me up. And he's like, I know exactly what you want, and all I want is to give. I will be back tomorrow.
Santa is a giver. Canon.
Santa
first
is
chapter.
A giver.
We understand. We start the book with her saying, Christmas can kiss my ass. And I was like, okay, but literally. Sorry.
I was going to say, while she's waiting for him to come to her house, she says, today I'm just counting down the seconds before I get that Santa dick.
Yep. There's so many. Yep. And she comes down with her sword, ready to stab him.
Oh, that is she's like,
he's gonna get an ass full of Mr. Stabbity. And I was like, butt stuff? Is this foreshadowing? Like sword play, but in the sexual sense? Please?
The note about the sword was so funny to me because she just randomly has this very accurate sword replica that she goes to kill the guy with until she realizes it's hot, sexy Santa that she wants to bone. And it's later referenced, but like, what is the intersection of ladies that own swords and Santa fetishizers? I really want to know.
Is the Venn diagram a circle? Is this what we're saying?
Because I know of men who own swords. I don't know of women who own swords, and I'm sure there's some out there. It just feels...
And it wasn't even a specific... It wasn't like, this is a replica from my favorite movie.
I think it was a broadsword replica from something.
No, it was a replica medieval broadsword. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like, this is Aragorn's sword from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This is Jon Snow's broadsword. Like, it was just a replica. And it's addressed later why she has it. And she's just like, I don't know, I thought it was cool. I was like, honestly.
Slay.
Sure. Slay.
Sorry, I've been hanging out with a lot of the gays lately.
I would like you to know that Amanda did just do the hand thing.
Yes. Like 3 times. I've been hanging out with my people lately, so it is in my vocabulary, and that is truly what the author did throughout this whole thing. Is if she wanted to add details, she did, and if she didn't want to add details, she had the characters pose the question, and then the other character just go, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably because her beta reader was like, you need to address why she has this sword, and she was like, fine. Here you go. There it is.
Because it's cool. I own a sword. Oh, and of note, Santa didn't visit Holly as a child. That's something that we learned very quickly. And he's at her house by mistake. He thinks that she's a 5-year-old Holly.
Yeah. So she's like Holly Parson, and he's looking for Holly Pearson or something.
Yeah. So immediately he's like, these presents aren't what you want. This dick is. I'm 15,000 houses behind. Let me go get to them. And then I'll come back for you tomorrow if you still want me. And she's like, I will want you.
no hesitation. Like first 3 pages, they're making plans to get dick down. And I love it. No, there's no fucking around. There's only
all
fucking
around.
Yes, there's all fucking She calls him a stern Christmas daddy. He can sense her desires.
He literally knows
He
what
can sense
she
all
wants.
people's desires, but he's like specifically like her desires. And like his whole shtick is like, I want to give you whatever you want. His height changes, so he's the perfect kissing height.
He doesn't know his true size. He's just the size she wants him to be.
Yeah. What an existence.
When he comes back the next day and they have sex, he literally grows while inside of her to where they are levitating off of the bed.
Yes. It's incredible. I love every moment of it. She's waiting for him to come back, and she's like, she gets home and she's like, I wonder if I have enough time to shower before he jingles me all the way. I didn't write down all the Christmas puns in this, but like,
they're
immaculate. I love them. I also love that Santa had a dad bod. I love that, like, he's Pa. Have I told you about Pa? I've told the listeners about Pa.
No.
Pa, if I were to marry a man, he would be a man whose children could call him Pa, and it wouldn't be funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be like, okay, yes, you're a man who can be called Pa. You can chop wood, and you are strong, but not like muscly. So like this Santa, you know what I mean? Like, you could lift a car, like that kind of strong. The strong of a man who is strong,
who has labored.
Because he labors, not because he goes to the gym. That kind of strong.
Allison,
and he has a beard. And he has a beard. I'm just saying, this has been a thing since college.
Okay,
this
don't
Santa
marry
is
a lumberjack,
is what I'm saying.
Unless they're a lesbian. Just.
Oh wait, I've sent you that video, right?
Oh, there's a lady. I saw it months before you sent it to me.
Yeah, there's a lady lumberjack.
Yeah. But yes, the dad bod I highlighted like a substantial part of that because I thought it was so funny the way she described it. And rise of the dad bod. I guess that's what was funny to me. Like, because I know that they're getting more popular or people mention them. I'm more or less neutral on it. But just like to say his arms and shoulders are muscular and sturdy, but his stomach and the rest of his torso is big, round, and soft. And then he has silver hairs. He has like silver curls and a beard and silver pubic hair. Like,
I loved that. I loved that we got that detail that the pubic hair is silver.
They repeatedly mention his silver pubic hairs.
I loved it. No, but it's so uncommon for romance, even now. Like, we're seeing a lot more body diversity for like heroines, for like female characters, but like not as much for men. Like, the men are all mostly still like abs, 6-pack. They're all 6 feet or above. I mean, he is above 6 feet, but he could also be smaller if he wanted to.
Isn't he like 7 feet tall?
Well, he's 7 feet when she sees him, but then he shrinks while they're making the dick appointment.
I want to know how big this dick is, though.
It's whatever size you need it to be.
I know.
It specifically grows so that it can hit her G-spot.
I know. It like curves for her. He also, when he comes back, he has these leaves a present for her before he arrives. That's like 2 boxes, one's white and one's red.
Yeah.
And it says like, are you feeling naughty or nice? And so she picks the red one. And it's like this toy that he developed that's with his Santa magic that just like sucks on her clit like an actual mouth and tongue.
Yeah. And she doesn't know how to get it off, which is never addressed. She doesn't know how to turn it off. And I feel like that is something.
Because he uses it on her first, and they have their magic, like, levitating sex, and she literally almost passes out from all of the times that she has come. And then while he's gone, the next morning, getting breakfast or something, she's like, maybe I want to try it out. And she can't get it off. And she's, like, trying to play it cool and being tortured by a clit stimulator.
And then when she comes, this was my favorite Santa pun of the entire book. When she goes, ho, ho, holy fuck.
Oh my God, that was so good. That one really got me.
Tim Allen's Santa Claus could never.
And all of this while she has her unaddressed, repressed trauma around Christmas and her dad.
Yes.
She hates
Yeah, we
Christmas.
keep getting hints to this. That something happened when she was like 4.
Yeah. And she hates Christmas, but she's like, Santa, tie me up.
The power of dick. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's the power of dick.
I will say, if cum tasted like peppermint, I would be way more on board with so many things.
You'd be like, I would be way more of a 50-50 bisexual.
Yes, that. I would be more of a swallower. Yes. My favorite thing is that Santa at one point asks if human men don't taste like him. And he's immortal and he's been around for over 1,000 years. And he also, if you're an immortal being, you cannot tell me you are straight. Santa has to have fucked men before.
You would think. Maybe Santa's just a really hard top.
Oh,
like he's like, I will never be the one giving.
Well, he is scared of his cum possibly getting her sick. And then like the next scene,
that was my question. So Santa practices safe sex, which we love. Like he puts on a candy cane condom. I would like to emphasize, like it's a candy cane striped condom, and I loved it because he's like, I don't know if I came inside you, I don't know what would happen because we're different species. But then, like the next page, she swallows, and I was like, does it only count if he's coming in your vagina? Like, why am I picturing like if he were to come inside her that we would get like Renesmee Cullen 2.0? Because that seems to be the implication of this.
It was even bigger because she was saying something about, I don't want to make any weird halfling babies. And then he goes, I wouldn't even want it to make you sick. So I'm thinking like it's going to burn her insides or something. Yeah. My friend has peppermint body wash and that shit got into my vulva last week. And I felt that for like 15 minutes. But not even an exaggeration. I became very acutely aware of how much soap washes into my vulva. But I mean,
and this has been the podcast with Amanda.
But then we get, it's not even the next scene because it's a like 3 to 4 page blowjob.
Oh,
like it's a long blow, which I love a good blowjob, but it went on, and then immediately she swallows, and I'm like, okay, so we don't care anymore about her getting sick. No halfling babies. I guess it's just
only in the vagina where it's a problem.
And he had a wife, so you also would kind of think he would know.
And ostensibly a human wife. Yeah. Because she is dead. She did die, presumably of old age. She like had an extended life because she lived on like Santa Magic Planet.
But, we'll get into that, but he has his own planet.
Yeah. So like, first of all, how did his wife never tell him?
Also, what does he just think? Like, because he eats pussy. The title is said so quickly in this novella. Like the very first sex scene, he eats her out before penetration, and she says Santa Claus is going to town on me.
Yes.
And so what does he just think that women taste salty and whatever and like cum, and men taste like peppermint?
He's like salty and sweet, like caramel corn. That's what it is. He's like, they come together, they create the perfect treat.
Okay.
Anyway, when he's growing, I just want to say that I couldn't picture anything but Clifford the big red dog when they were fucking, and he kept growing, and I was like, it's Emily Elizabeth and Clifford. He just keeps getting bigger. It was really horrible. It was bad.
Listen,
like I wasn't literally picturing Clifford and Emily Elizabeth having sex, but I couldn't stop like my brain, like I would read a paragraph and my brain would be like, Clifford the big red dog. Like just like a neon sign. It's Clifford.
I don't. Okay, that's fine. It's fine that you did that.
It was no,
It's
I'm not
whatever.
happy about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm saying this as a sadness.
Yeah, I guess what other things grow continuously, although Clifford
Yeah.
can't control it.
Yeah. No, he just grows and he stays that big.
One of my favorite parts about the inner monologue while they're having sex for days is that
Mm-hmm.
she's acutely aware of the fact. So it's canon in this that elves don't exist. He makes all the toys himself for
Yeah.
2 billion plus kids,
Insane.
which should probably be more than that, but whatever. He makes all the toys himself, which means he has to work round the clock 365. And so she's aware that them having sex is taking away from his work, which is taking away from children and their toys. And she says, I'm not about to throw all that away because our affair could ruin childhoods. She's like, you know what? This Santa dick, though, it's too good childhood trauma. I don't care. Like, let the kids cry. I'm
I
gonna
had
get eaten
childhood
out.
trauma and I turned out fine. So
She didn't.
she did not. Listener, she did not. We also get, but so speaking of pets, back to Clifford, he talks about his reindeer. And we learn that the reindeer that he has aren't the original reindeer. Like they're from the same herd. But that means the OG reindeer are dead. And I don't like that they're not immortal. Why can't they be immortal too? They live on his magic planet. I was sad that the original reindeer were dead, that the reindeer just die, that they're
And you were
normal reindeer.
sad because he's immortal.
Yes. Well, I was sad individually for the reindeer. And I was also sad for him because I was like, damn, that's a lot of pets that are dying.
But in the last one, you weren't sad. Because those were also not the OG reindeer in the
Are
last
they
one.
not? I thought they were.
No. She says they're not the ones you've heard of. These ones are all female.
Oh, well, okay, so I think I interpreted that as those are the OG reindeer, but our society, we live in a patriarchal society, so the patriarchy changed them all to boy reindeer in the myth,
Mm.
but in real life, they're immortal female reindeer. That's how my
I
brain did that.
think you girl bossed that one a little too hard.
Girl boss still a little too close to the sun, to the self-eating pussy, if you will.
Yes. Yeah, it is kind of sad that the reindeer die. Were you also confused about the existence of the reindeer? Because I sure was, because he just Santa magics himself everywhere. He just like disappears. So
That's true.
so why does he need the sleigh and the reindeer?
I don't think he can travel. No, wait. He can travel within his own dimension. So let's explain this. Okay, so Santa lives in a different dimension. It's not an alien. I initially thought it was like Saturn and like this motherfucker just lives on Saturn, but no, he has like his own dimension because the North Pole, like we live in a surveillance state and Santa's like, I can't handle that. So he lives in another dimension and he can like pop from our world to there and he can Santa magic in his dimension. But I don't know that he can do that in our world. Because, like, the one time when her mom comes and he disappears, there's a line later where she's like, he was hiding in the chimney.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he can just change size.
Hmm. Okay, something to ponder. I I don't maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't really need to think too hard about this one. But let's talk about the mom scene because
Yep.
mom comes right after the 4-page blowjob and she's like, you smell like peppermint. So it was so
I love it.
unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. Mom comes just to be like, the holidays are hard. And around this time of year, and like, I'm alone and maybe I could be with you. And she's like, Mom, you're intruding on my dick.
He's like, yeah, I came here for Christmas. He nods. And I rearranged her plumbing. Because he remodels her house without her consent, which is like
Which freaks her
bad
out.
Santa. She's like, my dude, you need to ask.
I did kind of like that. This
That
like
she calls him out on it?
no, the idea that his constant need to fulfill her wishes could have a downside. Because I felt like it was too easy to be like all about wish fulfillment. He has no
Yeah.
personality and it bothers me anyway, and I don't love the wish fulfillment, but the fact that there's like a downside to it, I was like, okay, depth.
I think she's also constantly like, hey, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to want things too. You
And
don't
he's
just
like,
have
I
to
just
want what
want to
other
make
people
you
want.
happy.
She's like, okay, but consider
Yeah.
being just a little bit selfish sometimes.
And he says, I want sex, which is conveniently also what she wants.
You know what? I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't either.
Relationships have been built on less, frankly.
You're not wrong.
As she was making the mom leave, I was like, you call her right back. Like, she's so sad. She just wants
Yeah.
to hang out with you.
Yeah. But Holly felt cock blocked. And Holly at this point feels like she's on a timer. She's constantly feeling like, this week with Santa can't go on forever.
Yeah.
And when she gets transported, so this they have the day together and Santa's like, we can do whatever you want. She's like, can I see your sleigh? And he's like, no human has ever seen it. But instead he decides to just magically transport her to his workshop, which freaks her the fuck out. She's like, I don't even know what dimension I'm in, let alone the galaxy. What the hell is going on? And I get the character here, but I'm also confused because all she ever wants is to be with him, and she's gone along with all of the magic thus far. So she's freaking the fuck out and then just immediately is like, all right, I trust you, whatever.
I think it's more about the ask. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I'm gonna say yes, but I would like to be asked. It's the same thing. That's the same thing with everything else. She's like, in all situations except when we're in bed together, I want you to ask before you do what I want.
Which is a good discussion of consent.
Yeah.
Enthusiastic consent.
Yeah, exactly.
Discussed in Sex Education season 4, which I liked more than the critics. So,
but they get to this planet, they're almost attacked by a giant polar bear.
Was this the funniest part of the book for you? Because this was the funniest part of the book.
This was hilarious.
This is when we learned Santa can talk to animals. But I also just want to know why the author thought of all things to throw into this novella, she needed a near-death experience.
I thought it was going to be his pet. I thought the polar bear was going to turn out to be his pet dog, like Cerberus in Hades. CLAUS?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He was just an alien. Why are there aliens in this pocket dimension? Did Santa not create the pocket dimension himself?
I didn't get the impression that he did.
Where is the pocket dimension?
Why
are there aliens there? It's in his pocket.
Santa used to live on Earth.
Yeah.
But then it got overpopulated and now there's nowhere for him to hide. So he lives in this pocket dimension, which also when she clarified if he lives on the North Pole or not, he said no, because it's too risky and the mailing companies know where to forward his stuff. Which, do they forward it to the pocket dimension?
I guess. Santa magic. Anytime there's something that doesn't make sense, Santa magic. That's it.
I will never get over how she was like, how old are you? And he was like, I stopped counting after 1,000. And she was like, what are you? And he's like, I don't know. I just exist this way. There's only one of me, but I'm not you.
You've never questioned it? This is a very sad existence that he's like the only one of his kind.
I guess if you've been alive for that long with that question and there's no answer, I could kind of see coming to an acceptance of it, but he just does not care at all.
Listen,
he just wants to eat
make
that
his little
pussy.
Toys. He just wants to make his little toys and eat out pussy. And that's, you know what? Maybe him and Farnaz can get together, like a joint business venture, and make ergonomic toys.
Well, I thought Farnaz and Kris should do that.
Well, yes, but this Santa can help too, because Kris does have elves. I think Kris doesn't make the toys. I think
sure.
In Her Night with Santa, there's elves. I don't think she does it all herself. I think that was clear. that it was like an operation.
This Santa's workshop is also just like a little house with his bed and his kitchen, and he has a bench where he hand makes
Yeah.
everything. A little humble means, and
Yep.
time works differently, which is how he has time to make billions of
Yeah.
toys.
Yeah. Time goes faster, slower.
Slower, I think. Well, it's not clear. It's kind of
More
like,
time passes in their pocket dimension than passes on Earth.
but it
Like
also
it's like
isn't.
Narnia.
But I don't think that it's linear in any way
Yeah.
because he makes it seem like if they go back to hers, it'll be the exact same time. So time works differently. He makes all the hands by toy, all the toys by
Listen, I'm sure
hand.
someone wants a toy hand.
Well, yeah, Holly does. There's a lot of sex in here.
A lot of sex. And they go to his sleigh. And she's immediately
Slay.
like, I would like to fuck in your sleigh. And
Yeah,
I would like to ride your sleigh and your dick at the same time.
the way this man went from you can't see my sleigh to I'm gonna take you to another dimension
Yes.
in no time, and then to the sleigh. And then he's surprised she
Yes.
can see it because most humans normally can't. And she's
So
like,
like, did the other Mrs. Claus, was she not able to see it? Or is it like his one true love of the
I got
century?
I got the impression that some of his Santa magic rubbed off on her from all the sex.
It's that cum she swallowed.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
the
I'm
cum is.
thinking. It's that Santa dick.
Wait, so here's my question. But speaking of Mrs. Claus, do we think that there have been many of them? If he's over a millennia old, like surely Mary, who's his like dead wife,
Most recently
surely she wasn't the
deceased.
first one.
She's the only one that he mentions.
She's like the most recent one.
Yeah, but he doesn't phrase it that way.
Yeah, but like how long did she live?
I
She
don't
is
know.
human. Like how long was she around? That's what I wanted.
Oh. He said she lived longer than most humans, or
Yeah.
longer than a human
Any
should
human
have.
should. Yeah.
And he's had over a century to grieve her.
Yeah.
So I was guessing she was alive for like 150 years, but I don't know, could be
Right.
longer.
But I'm saying if it's been over a millennia.
Okay, this is why I'm saying the Santa can't be straight. Just like, because he was so down to fuck as soon as he knew that Holly wanted to fuck him. And you gotta, like, this has to have happened before. He has to have, what, Allison?
I just had a really horrible thought.
A really horrible what?
Really horrible thought.
What?
That the reason he's so excited to fuck Holly is because she's a human woman and he's only been fucking the reindeer.
Allison! You better not cut this out.
Oh no, I won't. It was horrible. I was literally like, wait, well, if Mary was the first Mrs. Claus, then like was he celibate the whole time? But like, no, he must have fucking. Oh no. That's why he thinks his cum is poison. Because the reindeer that's why the original reindeer are dead.
Allison, you just keep making it worse.
I can't help it. I do it once I have the horrible scenario. I'm like, my brain's like, wait, okay, but how would this work? Like now I need to know.
And while they are fucking in the sleigh, and she's taking it reverse cowgirl going to doggy style, and she's having the ride of her life in more ways than one.
Yep.
She goes, I realize this is the last time we're gonna do it. This is the last time I'm gonna ride this dick. That's what she thinks while he's coming inside of her with his candy cane condom, because he's never without.
But and his candy cane dick. Like I would like you to know, like she does explicitly. At what points does she describe him as having a candy cane cock? Like I don't think it looks like a candy cane.
There is, whenever he comes, his jizz smells like peppermint, and now I want to lick that candy cane.
She called his dick a rock hard curved candy cane. So I needed to emphasize that it wasn't just the condoms.
And she thinks that they can't keep having sex. And I mean, they're falling in love, clearly,
Yes, obviously.
because he's an immortal being. And how would that work? And she has, this receptionist job and needs to be at home sometimes.
Yeah, she's like, I couldn't possibly leave my life. I'm like, what?
What life?
You have given me no indication
that you give
that there's
shit.
Anything there that you need to be permanently involved in.
But I found this part really amusing that we've gotten so many ridiculous puns, so much sex, and then as he's orgasming, she says, "My heart shatters as I realize this is the last time. This is our last time." It's just it's like I'm reading a real romance novel and not.
No, I mean, that's
porn.
it. That's the classic. It's the classic line.
But they don't have any actual connection.
They have tragic Christmas backstories.
He doesn't have one.
His wife is dead.
So didn't happen with Christmas.
She was Mrs. Christmas.
Oh my God.
Am I wrong?
She was Mrs. CLAUS,
aka Mrs. Christmas.
My next quote from this, my next highlight, which is 20 pages later. So clearly they did not break up. They decided to stay together. He gives me the Kris tingles like I've never, or the Kringle tingles. He gives me the Kringle tingles like I've never felt before.
I also wrote that as well.
Yeah.
That's like at the very at the epilogue. Oh, I want to say that she, when they're in the sleigh, she's also like put on the suit. Like she wants the full banana.
Oh yeah, she does want him in the suit, and she goes, "Is that weird?" And he goes, "There's no one I'd rather be weird with."
So it is weird. He's like, I deliver presents to children. There are no elves. Who's doing the dry cleaning? Who's cleaning the suit? Because I hope to God he's not wearing it to deliver presents before a deep clean.
Maybe he knows how to wash.
Well, he does have Santa magic. He doesn't know how to make coffee. I'll tell you that much.
That scene was
he makes her breakfast one day with his hands, not with Santa magic.
The first day,
make coffee. Yeah,
she wishes for a better cup of coffee, and he knows what she wishes for. Yeah. And then he's like, "Did I mess up?" And she's like, "Oh shit! Change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. I'm so happy that he made me this coffee." And she changes her thoughts, and he changes the coffee to taste better. Which, honestly, as a coffee connoisseur, I think that's the sexiest thing about him, is that he can change the flavor of coffee. I think that is the sexiest thing about him to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We know that she's only in it to heal her childhood trauma. She's constantly thinking about her dad, which around this time, before they officially...
We get it, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "Why didn't you ever bring me presents?" And he's like, "Babe, there's a lot of kids. There's mix-ups.
There's 2 billion.
Yeah, I can only give them to the kids that really, really believe anyway." And then she's like, "Also, I'm awful and I killed my dad on Christmas."
Yes, I knew it was going to be this. I knew it was going to be something
same.
Like
it was coming silly from the very first page.
Yes, she's like, no, but I knew it was going to be something silly like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, it could be, oh, she accidentally put like arsenic in his coffee instead of like sugar. But no, this is just she's running through a parking lot with her Christmas tree shopping, and he gets hit by a car, and Edward Cullen isn't there to save him, despite the many times I thought about Twilight during reading this book.
I was so ready for it to be something awful.
Yeah.
Like a sociopathic, mix up where or not sociopathic, but anyway, something where she actually killed her dad because of how she feels about it, and just in general, I thought that would be hilarious, like the cherry on top. But instead, no, we get this. What dad is trying to carry his daughter while also carrying a whole ass Christmas tree in a parking lot? You can't do that.
What is he doing?
You need multiple people to carry those trees.
What are you doing, Douglas? Douglas Fir?
And he gets hit by a car, and she blames herself, and he's like, "That wasn't your fault. And when your mom was over, you know what she was thinking? She was thinking, I wish that she would be happy and forgive herself, and also that she could get a man like me." And I won't tell you the rest of what she was thinking.
But she does get a man. Spoiler alert, in the epilogue, she does have a boyfriend. So Santa did get her a man for Christmas.
Yes. And then he's like, you know how I gave you 2 boxes? Well, the nice one, here you go. You didn't open it. I loved a callback. Did you like the callback? I liked
Yeah,
the
I
callback.
did. I forgot about the boxes. I did think it was going to be an engagement ring.
Me
I'm going to be
too.
honest. I
Me
was shocked
too.
that they didn't get married at the end of this. Or that she wasn't pregnant. Like, they're just dating at the end of this.
I would love a Renesmee.
I would love a Renesmee.
Maybe that would be the elf, and he would finally get some helpers.
Child labor at its
my mom always told me she had kids for 18 years free labor. I'm not even kidding. She used to tell us that all the time. So he goes back to the mortal dimension to bring this white box to her while she's passed out in bed after having the ride of her life. And
excellent. The many rides.
Yes.
So many.
And which, by the way, she passes out in the sleigh and somehow ends up in bed and doesn't remember it at all. Like she's like,
he Santa magics her to the bed.
Yeah, but she has this like sentence where she's like, I don't remember how we got from here to here to here. Because she's just so out of it.
She's so worn out.
He brings the white box and she opens it and it's a jewelry box. And then it has a little snow globe necklace. Because of fucking course Santa has to bring a snow globe.
Yep.
And she can use this necklace to go between the worlds, the dimensions, between his home and her home. And that's how they can be together. And so while reading this, I was thinking, before he ever fucked her, when all he knew was that she was DTF, he was like, this girl is going to get the key to the castle. This girl's going to get all of me forever. Like, he was down bad. Is it that hard for Santa to get some pussy?
I guess. Honestly, listen, ladies, if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to give you a snow globe that led to his pocket dimension home, he would. Do better, men.
I don't think I would want that.
I don't ever have to use it. You don't have to use it. If he gives it to you, you don't have to use it. But it's cool.
This Santa is the true U-hauler of them all.
He out lesbian the lesbians.
For real.
He needs 5 minutes. He doesn't even need 48 hours. Like, he needs 5 minutes immediately. I'm done. Maybe part of his magic is that he also knows what he wants the most. You know what I mean? Like, he can sense his own desires. What he wants is to fuck her.
Because she wants to be fucked.
But forever. She wants to fuck him forever. So that's why he's like, I know from the beginning. Like, we're ready to move in. Because what I want most is to fuck you forever.
I really felt bad for this himbo. Like, I love a himbo. But he was
such a himbo.
He was worse because he truly had no personality. He did not want anything. The one time that she tries to really get him to say what he wants, he just says he wants her to undress slowly like a human. He gets all of his satisfaction from making other people happy. Happy. He's a big old people pleaser.
Yeah. And
you know what? Lost himself.
That's okay.
I mean, he's a generous lover.
That's okay. You know, the trade-off is worth it in my mind. Before he gave her the snow globe, though, she was like, I can't just only see him one night a year. And I was suddenly viscerally hit with the trauma that I experienced the first time I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 3, which, listener, if you're not familiar with the franchise, in the last movie, spoiler alert, Will Turner, aka Orlando Bloom, has to become Davy Jones, so he can only step on land every 10 years. So him and Elizabeth can only fuck every 10 years. And like, it ends with her and their 10-year-old son seeing him again for the first time. And I was like, this is like that.
It tore me up.
It was horrible. But apparently, you know what I learned? I haven't watched the other movies, but in like the 5th one, it's not the 4th one. It's like the 5th if there was a 6th one, maybe it was that. It was in the most recent one. They break his curse. So they get to be together.
I didn't think they were in the most recent one.
I think they like make a little cameo. Make a little cameo appearance. Because
I
like
don't.
at the very end, like Davy Jones, like Will Turner is like, hello, and then they break the curse or something. I don't know. I know they break the curse. That's all I know.
Good for them. I haven't watched since the third one, and I won't be going back to watch because I don't support Johnny Depp anymore.
I would pirate the first three movies.
The pirate movies.
I would
Yeah.
pirate. I'm pretty sure I have them on DVD.
I have thought about watching them only because of the scene in Heartstopper where he's like, by awakening is the two of
Oh,
them.
absolutely. It's either your By Awakening is either Elizabeth Swann and Will Turner or Evie and Rick in The Mummy.
I don't know that either of those were mine. My Sapphic awakening was Charlie's Angels.
Understood. Heard and received.
Santa, not my type.
This Santa from Rise of the Guardians, yes.
Yeah. I will say I prefer him to be a giver than the opposite, you know?
Nowadays, you can't be a romance hero and not be a generous lover.
No.
The romance readers are going to shut that shit down quick. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Before, we were willing to exist in disbelief that these women were coming from penetration alone. Now, no, absolutely not.
And Santa makes sure that while he's fucking you, you're getting the clitoral stimulation.
Sometimes he makes it snow a lot.
He does.
Indoors. And I could never imagine this being pleasant.
Oh, have you not heard of ice cubes?
No, I have, but like I just feel like because at first I thought it was just a temporary thing. Like the first time they have sex, she's like, "Oh, he's making it snow," and I like, it's like the cold against like my hot skin. Like I was like, okay, I'm fine with I'm picking it up. But I thought it was just a temporary thing. But it seems to be just the entire time, and that seems like that would just get cold.
I guess I thought of it as an on and off thing. Do you think he can't fuck without making it snow?
I don't know. Because the thing is that when she's sitting on her couch and she's freaking out about him remodeling her house and also about the potential that he may be married because she's finally thought about Mrs. Claus for the first time. He comes up and she's like, I see his boot and there's like snowflake. Like he like puts his foot down and like flurries of snow come out. So it's like when he is walking around too. I don't know how snow magic works. I was confused about that.
None of the magic is particularly clear, let's be honest. But the snow globe magic works well in her favor because she goes back and forth. It takes her all of 2 weeks to move in. We find out in the epilogue. And they've now been together for 5 fucking years and still do a little role play at Christmas time.
As they should.
I'm all for keeping things fresh. I'm all for the role play. I just can't imagine them being together for 5 years because he has no personality.
Like, what did they talk about?
Yeah. He's just like, you're incredible.
Here's the thing. Does she have a personality? Apart from daddy trauma.
No.
Does she have a personality?
No, but I get why she's with him because that is healing her daddy trauma. In a convoluted way that I don't think is healthy. That's her living out her daddy trauma. But what is he getting from it?
Blowjobs.
I guess if you're a massive people pleaser, then truly the best, like the most satisfying thing for you, if you don't want to fix that, would be to be with like a narcissist with a lot of trauma, huh?
Yeah. I don't think she's a narcissist.
Well, no, but I just mean like someone who like needs your attention all the time.
Yeah. I also think we do get like several references to him being lonely. So this is like, I guess, him allowing himself to have a friend again, because apparently the polar bear is not his friend. Neither are the reindeer. Which, by the way, speaking of the polar bear, it just made me think, when they first land in the pocket dimension, she sees a reindeer herd in the distance. And this polar bear is just roaming around. Is he eating their food? Like, I worried for them.
Maybe he only eats people.
No wonder he's so mad. Like, he never gets access. That's what happened to the past Mrs. Claus, actually, the polar bear.
She got eaten.
It made me think of, so researchers in like Arctic stations they have to have like cages, like basically like shark cages, like around the exits to their stations, so that they can check to make sure polar bears aren't waiting, because polar bears have learned that it's like a snack dispenser and they will attack.
Oh my God.
And if a polar bear comes for you, you're fucking dead. There's no,
Yeah.
you're not, no.
Yeah, it's not going to be the golden compass. It's not what you hoped. That's incredible and terrifying, and I love nature. I love how it learns and adapts to humans. I also destroys any desires that I've ever had to be an Arctic explorer, of which there are a few. There are a few, like you wanting to run a marathon.
A little delusion, the like
A little Delulu, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do it. I could run a marathon.
You know what made me mad? I think, like, I am a bisexual who currently prefers women but has mostly dated men. None of that really matters. I'm rooting for the women though. But of these two, Santa Claus is going to town on me, I thought was hotter.
I also think her night with Santa, like the fact that she's Santa is kind of, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like the story wouldn't really change if it was just like two rich gals at their like beach house.
She wouldn't be as turned on by snowflake nipple clamps.
Sure. And that definitely meaningfully would impact the story. For sure.
Do you want to do your cat scale?
Yes. Cat scale.
I was disappointed because the episode of yours that I listened to, you had a very high rating and you had a lot of actual cats. And you know what we didn't have in either of these stories? Some freaking cats.
No cats and no cat language.
There was not really.
Pussy. I don't usually count pussy. I guess pussy does count, but I don't usually count pussy because it's like, that's just the word for it. You know what I mean? Like it's not an intentional choice to say like where like growling or like comparing someone to a cat is.
The use of purr was in the epilogue of Santa Claus is going to town on me. That was the only time. And there was one of like, I think my pussy was gonna lunge at him or something. So do we have to say it at the same time? I mean, I don't know how your scale works.
It's vibes. It's pure vibes.
It's pure
Let
vibes.
me tell you, one is the like low, one is like no cat presence. Like it was a romance. So it has a 1.
That's not a 0?
No. Everything gets at least 1. 1 is like the lowest. And then 10 is like max out. Anyway, let's do her night with Santa. 3, 2, 1, 2. Okay. 1.5.
Why'd you give it a 2?
Because I frankly think Sapphic women are inherently cat vibes to me. Sapphic books are more.
That Kris was a little cat-like.
Yeah.
A female top gives cat.
Yeah.
Energy of
exactly.
Like, I'll give you pleasure when I feel like it, and otherwise I do what I want.
But the thing is that in that one, she always feels like it.
Yes, they do have a hard time having any actual conversation because they are too busy banging.
As it should be.
Aspirational.
All right, let's do Santa Claus. 3, 2, 1.
2.
Oh, a flip.
Because it had the language.
Yeah, well, it had the 1.
Yeah.
All right, 1.5. I feel like that's fair. It's fair for both of them. Also, I just feel like Santa inherently is like more of a dog guy. Like the vibes of like Santa as a myth. Amanda, would you like to let them know where they can find you and or your podcast?
You can find me at 90s Babies Nostalgia on all the things. Spell out the word 90s on Instagram and YouTube, or use the number 90s on TikTok because TikTok has character limits and it drives my friend insane. And from there, my personal socials are linked, although I don't know why you would follow those because I don't use them, but listen to my podcast because it's fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Allison?
Well, they can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night, on Twitter at We Read It Podcast, because Twitter has character limits. Email us, wereaditone@gmail.com, where you can send your listener suggestions. Do you have a favorite Santa fucking book? Do you have a book where they're fucking the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy or some other mythical creature? Let us know
Is
so
it
that we can do
hotter
it.
if Santa's an immortal being or if they're just a normal human? Let us know.
Oh, and then check out our Etsy, Evelyn Adelaide. And if you would like to support the podcast monetarily, you can buy us a coffee. Not like a virtual coffee, not a real one. And leave us a rating and review. Godspeed, comrades. Say Godspeed.
Godspeed.